of God. The white man is the devil.
See, I've been in here for a little minute. You know what I'm saying? And I see niggas, they like to talk a lot. They like to claim leadership. They like to claim this and that. You know what I'm saying? They like to be above what they really is and have authority. But they don't really need that authority. They don't really know what to do with that leadership. You understand? You hold hands with this white man. Need to stop and ask you to give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up and serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah. See, everybody ain't with all that peace talk. Everybody ain't with all that. Let bygone be. Boy, ask you to stop and ask you to prop. It's about to get serious. When they hit us with dope and kill us with crack, where the fuck with your leaders? I'm curious. He cashed out on your blood, traded you in and bought a new biz. Ask you the prophets, I tell you the scheme. If you don't wake up, you gon' die in your dreams. I say you won't tell you no more. I swear these crackers try to kill us slow. Just spoke to a nigga and fed he up for parole because of the COVID. It feel like the host in this world that don't go together. Know it's golden and ghetto. I'm in the city blazing with my niggas. Just told the devil the score never settle. Yeah, see the prophets. I'm tired of these niggas keep talking about, you know, you respect my religion, I respect your religion. Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you the prophets. You know, like we all come together. Cause you know what I'm saying? They say God so loved the world. God so loved the world to know. Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you the prophets. Don't give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up to serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah. Hey, gentlemen, y'all, we don't pray on our knees, nigga. Gotta stand up. You know what I'm saying? Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you to I would step, I'm solid for show. To the fake niggas, stay silent, I got it, let's go. I ain't taking no losses, ain't no talking when we got the flow. Ain't no peace, just play with your own. I'ma be loyal to the right arm. Tell him we can't keep it slave. And I can never let bygone be bygone. Got your baby mother on high. Got your baby pass through the fire. Ask you the prophets, that baby so belong to the Lord. How dare you abort it? Therefore a failure, bitch, I can afford it. I prepare slaughter, you bring me my water. Push your leaders weak, let them lies slip through their teeth. They ass need to stop and ask you the prophets.
That's just the reality, Christians. I'm sorry to hurt your feelings. I know your pastor lied to you every Sunday for 30 years, but that's what the church is for, lying. That's why they exist, to lie the money out of your pockets.
Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you to give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up to serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Gotta stand up to serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga.
99 cents. Yeah, keep going. We good, yeah, okay. Yeah. Baking soda's only 99 cents.
Yo. There's pressure that comes with the block. You could end up inside of a box when you get your knob buzzed by a op after getting set up by a thought. Opportunity, it doesn't knock. Nope. That sound right there be the cops. Yep. And all of that stress that we talking still beats punching the clock. You think I wanna sweep your floor from 8 to 4? Fuck, I wanna take your orders for when your favorite star got an Audemars that's worth more than mama's car. Type of shit make you wanna say fuck the law. When your rent's due and your piss poor, nigga, we don't even own our own corner store. So call the waters, cause a quarter more, Wanna be an entrepreneur. We want sign checks. We want work for ourselves. We want on the nets. You're too much of a threat when you're on your own assets. So the only thing they show us is how to be an outlet, so we won't connect. They say hi like hola, listen to Hova, whip up a Rover. Been watching Power, Tommy and Ghost, bruh, so I need some powder, fish scale and soda for 99 cents.
It's hard to repent when you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, make it make sense. Baking soda's only 99 cents. It's hard to repent when you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, make it make sense, yeah. You see, the money is a motive. Repeat my history, crack cocaine is like the motif. It's plain and simple, way back then my mother hustled. It's in my blood. blood, so I feel like it's time to grind, just like the times when niggas lie. Hold up, back then was the bad days. Motherfuckers push mad weight. I was a crack baby. Tell me nothing about my mother and the struggle. See, I love you in this fuckers trying to smoke with you hustle. Selling everything in the house, goddamn. She ain't give a damn about the spouse, goddamn. So my oldest brother had to man up, had to take care of us in the piece with 4 kids. The one on the way with no clip, no food in the fridge, no support shit. Got food stamps from the neighbors. That's how I worked, he ain't ask no favors. Late night, he was shot bodegas. Over bread and some meat, some mayo. Kool-Aid had about 4 flavors. And when time went to cash out, Aki lashed out. Told him he'd take food stamps. $15 for that kid, fuck all that shit. Then the young nigga noticed that he could be the coldest. Take back what they owed us. Whole world on the shoulders. No food in the kitchen but the stove work. $10 in the sack and he points to the back, say, aight, let me get that soda. 99 cents. It's hard to repent when you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, oh, make it make sense. Baking soda's only 99 cents. It's hard to repent when you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, oh, make it make sense. Yeah.
So let me get this shit straight. So I gotta go take out loans to go to school, to get a job, just to pay for the loans I took out in the first place. I'm looking at this arm and hammer like I should have a hammer in my arm right goddamn now. Shit ain't make no sense. Lord, make it make sense. Goddamn.
Baking soda's only 99 cents. Hey, it's hard to repent when you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, oh, make it make sense. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Only 99. It's hard to repent when you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, oh, make it make sense.
Hey.
I've been searching for the light just to make it through the night. If you hear my shout, help me cast my demons out. I've been searching for the light, almost made it through the night. If you hear my shout,
Let's go. You know what I'm talking about? I'm a priest every day. I ain't choosing my ways, it's a slave. Need water, need to follow my way. It's I.S.U.P.K. And I noticed you slightly depressed. That's from your walk, I know you had on shades. When I look into your eyes, it seems like you wanna die today, but don't let her. Don't let her set up, boy, I know that hoe. I hear Papa tell what's old to you, new to me. Call that bitch a garage sale, but on your case I heard it's cheating on you. Your money low and they don't wanna be round. I heard that you had the city on you, but now that bit like a ghost town. Where your friends at, I heard you care for any of them niggas. And I heard that from your song, but it's not like they dismiss you. And I know I can't tell you nothing, but I'ma tell you straight up, you ain't nothing. Boy, you seeking hard for a nigga proof. Boy, you sign gay, switch the topic. And I know you bait like tilapia, but your mind focused on the righteous. And the only nigga that's beside you that's gonna tell you like YAHANNA. And I know it seems like I'm bashing. I call that a 2-edged sword, but hurt coming in, sting coming out. What you think being right's for, huh?
Be real.
I've been searching for the light.
Niggas swear they real, took out there, they hear some shit they ain't never heard before, man. And when they hear some shit they never heard, they wanna challenge that shit like it's wrong or something. Get your weak ass mind right, nigga.
I've been searching for the light.
I'm here for you, man.
Almost made it
I ain't saying I'm perfect, but Christ said be ye perfect, bitch.
If you hear my shout,
Apply that shit, nigga.
cast my demons.
I'ma help up here, I'ma show you, I paint that picture for you. You need to know the white man, the devil before I go in. You can't see that, I pull out my stats on how we kidnap. I'm pulling out fast about blast, how we got packed on damn shoots. It ain't no cap, and the damn shorts, and it's up like snacks. And the damn women have a damn traps and the laps, and it's all traps. But you gotta relapse on your damn history. I don't need no yacht if you came out. Where the hell we from? You hear this English, boy, but what's our tongue?
What's your home language, man?
I'ma tell you straight up. Yeah, I serve the Lord, like ain't nothing to it. But I'm telling you, it's war like Call of Duty. Yeah, I'm on this land, and I got a plan. Just grab my hand, but I'm your second chance. If you don't understand, then I guess you're damn. But I'm here face to face, an angel to a fan. Whoa. Listen to the damn right turns. If you laugh, you might die unlearned. I'ma get you straight like a damn burn. 2 feet, bitch.
I've been searching for the light, just to
You know what I'm saying? I'm here. I feel like we put on earth for a reason, man. But it's up to you to fill out that purpose, man. Ain't about getting your mind dumb, smoking weed and shit. Goddamn, sniffing cocaine or serving a white man all your life, nigga. You think the white man is God out here? That's why you don't question what the hell they doing out here, man. Cause you was serving them, man. Serve the Lord, you bitch, you. Like it.
Shalom, Yahweh Shem El Shabbat.
Hey, Shalom, Hakim.
Hey, Shalom. Yahweh Shem El Shabbat. Again.
So, like everyone, you may want to try to put the next one with the
1 second. I'm trying to figure out. Can you mute your mic and see what happens? Or you have headphones in, right?
I have headphones for TikTok.
All right, you can start. Open up the show. I gotta go get my headphones and stuff. I'll be right back.
Hey, Yahweh Shem Shabbat to all the brothers, Yahweh Shema Atam Bashim Yahweh Shai to all the sisters. It's like every Sunday, I.S.U.P.K Canada got the Rise 69 podcast, vidcast, whatever you want to call it. You understand? From 4 p.m. right around 4 p.m., 4:30 p.m. whatsoever. You understand? We're gonna go for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, right? We're gonna touch on subjects that are hitting the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community as usual, right? Joining with us, we have Officer 1000 Adiyar, you understand, from Montreal. You understand? Shalom Adawan.
Hey, Shalom, Hakim. Yahweh Shem El Shabbat.
We have also Officer 1000 is the Badia, you understand, the Wolf of the North, right? No sweat. We have me, myself, and I, Officer 500 Barak Allah, the host, doing the most. Zimmy, right? And we have my Dominican brother, El Soldado Sowab. Shalom, Ak, Yahweh que lo que.
Shalom, que lo que. Yahweh Shem Shabbat.
Que lo que. You understand? So we're gonna start up today. We have a few sensitive topics. You understand, especially what's been going on lately. A couple of days ago, at least. You understand? So we're gonna start with, for people who are joining from TikTok, we're also live on YouTube, right? So we're gonna pull up some articles. If you want to follow, go on our YouTube channel, I.S.U.P.K Canada. We're also streaming on I.S.U.P.K Quebec, right? Also on Facebook as well, I.S.U.P.K Canada. So if you don't want to follow only from TikTok, go and follow the YouTube and Facebook page. All right. But, yeah, let's start with. 1 second. So let's see where we're going to start. We're going to start with Salaka. So could you pull up the article on the brother whose life was taken away, right, in Memphis? We're going to start with the brother Tyree Nichols, right?
Ready to go.
Okay, because we're going to see that it's 2023, right? and nothing has changed. You understand? Our life are still the life of so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native are still being taken away by, you know, the badge. You understand? So like I'll say, Adayar, you may want to put some headphones on if you're both on TikTok and StreamYard, right? Just to let you know. But yeah, we're gonna start with our brother Tyree Nichols. You understand? So whenever you're ready, Sawap, pull up the article and start reading it.
Khan Aron Khan. This is from CTV News. The title is Cloud of Dishonor. Memphis Police disband unit that beat Tyree Nichols.
You understand? We're gonna start with this because for those who don't know, Tyree Nichols is a 29-year-old brother. When we say brother, he's a so-called Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian man. In that case, they're called so-called Negro, African American, right? Who was unalived. You understand? So like we need to use certain words on TikTok not to be canceled, right? So he got unalived by 5 so-called police officers of color. You understand? A few days ago in a gruesome way. And we're going to touch on that just now. So go ahead and read the article.
Khan Aron Khan.
Salaki, I'm gonna just pass it back to Officer 1000 Zabaja. Salaki 1000 Zabaja seems to have some tech. Now I was just gonna pass it back to you, but you're not on StreamYard anymore, so I'm gonna wait for you to jump back in and give it back to you. Okay, no sweat. So yeah, officers about having technical difficulties on the StreamYard on the YouTube, so we're gonna keep going, right? So go ahead and read the article, Ak.
Khan Aron Khan. This article is updated January 28, 2023. Memphis, Tennessee. The Memphis police chief disbanded the city's so-called Scorpion unit on Saturday, citing a cloud of dishonor from newly released video that shows some of its officers beating Tyree Nichols to death after stopping the black motorist.
Good night. So this is not something that is uncommon in the community of so-called people of color. You understand? There's always a story where a brother or sister is unalived by people in uniform, right, with a badge. You understand? So like Officer Adiyar, if you're still here, could you look up what is a Scorpion unit?
So like a priest, I couldn't hear what you said.
Could you look up what is the Scorpion unit in Memphis, in the Memphis PD? Right? We're gonna this is not something that is uncommon, you understand? The brother just lost his life after a what? It was a what did it say? So what, a traffic stop?
That's correct, sir.
Right. So he was stopped for whatever reason, you understand? And he ended up, giving up the ghost. You understand? And he wasn't he wasn't filled with lead by the police, you understand? He was beaten to the point where he gave up the ghost. Right? Now, it's just to show you how animalistic these officers are, right? They beat a brother to death. Like, it wasn't, one hit on the wrong side of the head that made him pass away. You understand? He got beaten like a piñata. You understand? It's just to show you how violent these people are. And when I'm saying these people, I'm not saying like these are like I specified, these are people of color, but we're gonna see why they were so violent. We're gonna break it down to you as well, right? So keep reading a bit more of the article. Baukasha.
Khan Aron Khan. Police Director Sherilyn C.J. Davis acted a day after the harrowing video emerged. saying she listened to Nichols' relatives. Community leaders are uninvolved officers in making the decision. Her announcement came as the nation and the city struggled to come to grips with the violence of the officers, who are also black. The video renewed doubts.
Stop right here real quick. Stop right here real quick, Kusha, you understand? Like, okay, these officers were, it's in an article, they were also people of color. Now, what does that tell you? What does that tell you, understand? Because it is known in the history of officers trying to be people of color that they have to prove themselves to their counterparts, their colleagues who are not people of color. Yes, and they have to prove themselves that they are worthy of the badge, they are worthy of the uniform, they are worthy of their firearm. You understand? They are worthy of being in a police car. You understand? They are worthy of having handcuffs. You understand? They are worthy of the power that is given to them. You understand? And how are they showing that they are worthy to do so? Is by oppressing and hating their own people. You understand? When you have because a lot of time it's like we would say we need to be in the police force to be able to make a change. You understand? To be able to change a system from the inside. You understand? Well, we're quick to realize that we can't change the system from the inside. The system will change us. You understand? The system will change us, basically. You understand? Instead of making a change for the better in the community, we're just hopping on the bandwagon. You understand? We're following after them, after their example. And what is their example? What is it that they're showing us, that they're teaching us to do? They're teaching us that, you know, first and foremost, you are an officer. You're not a man or woman of color. You are a police officer, first and foremost. So all that color talk, get that out the window. You understand? These are not your people. We are your people. The men and women next to you in uniform are your people. This is your new family. You understand? They'll make you hate your own so you could prove yourselves to them. You understand? They'll make you pledge your loyalty to them. You understand? And by doing that, multiple instances like what happened with Tyree Nichols happened throughout North, South, Central America. Yes, because don't think this is just an isolated issue, just, you know, for North America, right? There's officers of color wherever we are. You understand? Whether it's Central and South America, we join our oppressor, los conquistadores. You understand? In the police force whatsoever, and then we still oppress our own. Don't think it doesn't happen in France or in the UK as well. You understand? It happens wherever our people are. Where when we decide to join after our oppressors to be part of their society, you understand, which the ideology of their society is being against us in the first place, that's what happens. We end up hating our own to the point where, you know, we're helping them. We're helping them, how could I say this, unaliving our own people. You understand? But here's the thing now, these officers, I think we're going to read that in an article, right? But these officers, they got charged with the quickness. You understand? As a matter of fact, keep reading the article. Let's see if our article speaks on it, all right?
The video renewed doubts about why fatal encounters with law enforcement keep happening despite repeated calls for change. Protesters marching through downtown Memphis cheered when they heard the unit had been dissolved. One protester said over a bullhorn that the unit that killed Tyree has been permanently disbanded.
Salakia, stop right here real quick. Officer Ariar, did you get what is the unit, what is the Scorpion unit in Memphis?
Yeah, come on, Priest, I got you.
Okay, if you can read it real quick, and then we'll go back to Sawari.
Come on, no sweat. The Scorpion
Scorpion or street crimes operation to restore peace in our neighborhoods included more than 24 officers tasked with taking on street crimes. They wore black hoodies and tactical black vests with police and emblazoned across the front and back, and drove dark-colored Dodge Chargers with the mark with a scorpion seal. So basically, one Salakia, it's just like a militia to be against the people in the streets, because a brother in the ghetto is considered a criminal. You understand? Just like Donald Trump is saying he wants the he wants to unalive people legally if they're drug dealers, right, or criminals whatsoever, right? If he gets elected again, that's what they're doing. They built a task force, a militia, you understand, to oppress our people specifically. You understand? Because okay, I'm not just gonna speculate, but let's be honest, right? The areas where the Scorpion Task Force, the area where they're in, where they're patrolling, is predominantly an area of people of color. I guarantee you that 1,000%. You understand? The task force is not made to arrest or control the typical people the Walter Whites. I'm gonna say that the Walter Whites. You understand? If you've seen Breaking Bad, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. You understand? It's not made to control the Walter Whites. You understand? It's made to control the market, the Tyrese. You understand? Whether or not they're engaging in illegal or illicit activities, you understand? It's made to control our people. You understand? Like it. You got a reverb. It's made to oppress our people even more than they already oppressed. Like it is like Memphis, Tennessee is a racist state. Tennessee is a racist state, you understand? And now they went a step further to oppress us, as they were not oppressing us enough in the South. You understand? They built a specific task force, a militia, you understand, to go against us specifically, right? Now, since they could not sweep that under the rug, you understand, because it was caught on video and it went, and of course it went viral, you understand, Mosai and Christ for the internet, they had to disband the task force. You understand? Even if the brother was guilty of something, they would have to disband the task force regardless, because it don't matter if you're guilty or not. Once you get arrested by some officers, right, you have the right to come, like you should have the right to come back home alive, even if you have to, you know, do a prison sentence whatsoever. You understand? Guilty or not, they shouldn't have the right to take your life. You understand? Keep reading, Sawab Okasha.
Khan, referring to the heinous actions of a few that dishonored the unit. Davis contradicted an earlier statement that she would keep the unit. She said it was imperative that the department take proactive steps in the healing process.
Shalaka, stop right here. They want to disassociate themselves with guilty officers. Why? Because you're always going to say, oh, not all cops are like this. Not all cops are racist. Not all cops are targeting people of color. You understand? That's what they're trying to say. Right? They disassociate themselves with the guilty officers. That's what they're trying to do. You understand? But at the end of the day, it's like you can't fool the people. You understand? Whether it's what with Rodney King, I mean, Salaki, I think in the article it mentioned that, you know, that that incident reminded people of what happened with Rodney King in California, in LA. You understand? It was that bad, right? And they're trying to disassociate themselves by saying, you know, they're basically saying we're not all like that. You understand? We need to address the situation because, you know, at the end of the day, people are just gonna start distrusting, distrusting the police. You know, people need to put their trust in the police. They need to know we're for the people when they have never actually been for the people. You understand? The way that you see the little police officer badge, right? It's in a little shape of a star whatsoever. This stems from slavery. This stems from being a slave catcher. From slave catcher, they became sheriffs. Instead, from sheriffs, they had police departments, and so on and so on. You understand? To the point where there's a sheriff, slave catcher, or police department in every single city. You understand? We need to know where it came from to be able to understand how they work, how they function. They're out here, you know, is empire in 2023. People of color, when I'm saying people of color, I'm talking about so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians, right? We are still slaves to them. You understand? So as part of their job, right, being the new modern day slave catchers, right? That's what they're doing right now. Yes, and Salakia, one officer, Ida, could you take over for a minute?
So like also Zabaja, you to Wabo?
I'm having trouble. Like my computer keeps freezing.
Okay, come. That's right. All right, just to get back to where Officer Barakala was saying, you understand? If anybody know where the police come from, you understand? This is what Officer Barakala was saying. The police come from, you understand, like where we were slaves and you had slave patrol, you understand? You had people, you understand, to patrol the street and catch the slaves. This is where the police come from in the United States, in Canada, you understand? So it is not a shock. It is not a surprise for you to see today exactly who is the police against, really? You, so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Indian. They're not there to protect you or serve you. They're there to protect this establishment, this empire. This is what they're there for. You understand? And this is why we still see exactly these type of killing, this type, you understand, of atrocities in our community done by the police. Why? Because they are not there to protect us. You understand? But of course, Trooper Sawap, where was you? Can you pick up where you was at? One question.
Khan. It is in the best interest of all to permanently deactivate the Scorpion unit, she said in a statement.
You understand? Now they want to deactivate that unit. Why? Because just like Barakela was saying, it brings a bad image to the police. We can't leave those, you understand, that unit there. And after that, you understand, everybody seeing the unit that just killed a brother, you understand, unjustly. You understand? Meanwhile, that unit will be transferred to another unit with a new name. You understand? But hopefully they will have like a type of where you could vet the people and see exactly the mental state of every police officer, because it goes to be a police officer, to take on that job. It's not just, you understand, passing a test. You gotta see if you don't have, you understand, no psychological, you understand, problems also. You understand, something that they don't do in the police. And this is why you have a lot of murderers, a lot of rapists inside of the police unit. You understand? Why? Because they just allowed anybody to be a police officer. All right.
Salakia, if I could.
Come on, please.
Okay.
All right. Barack, can you hear me on TikTok?
Yeah, you can on TikTok now.
Okay. So what Officer Adiyar is saying, Salakia?
There's no reverb or nothing. We're to up on TikTok.
Is basically, damn, my computer is kind of lagging. But what Officer Adiyar is basically saying is like, you got to have righteous people over a people if they're going to be the judges, right? If they're going to be the people who are supposed to uphold the law, right? Unfortunately, that is never going to happen with the police, right? With police as it stands right now, the only way you're going to have righteous authority in the neighborhoods of blacks, Hispanics, and blacks, Hispanics, and indigenous people is if you give the keys and the badges to the ISUPK.
Right.
You want to make sure your neighborhoods are patrolled and brothers aren't being beaten to death by brothers or oppressors, is to make sure you have righteous men over them, right? You look at the Western Hemisphere, anywhere where the cave dwellers are, the people who look like mayonnaise, who have enslaved, who have tortured and unalived millions upon millions of people of color, right? You look in their society, their leadership is dead wrong, right? Meaning that their leadership is corrupt. If their leadership is corrupt, their enforcers are going to be corrupt. Whoever is leading the people that's corrupt, when they send the people to enforce the law, those people are going to be corrupt too. You see, we watched this video, right? For those of you who watch the video, we're not going to be playing the video here, but for those of you who watch the video, you watched a brother get beaten like he stole Salakia. He was beaten like he took someone's life.
Salakia,
Right?
one.
Khan.
I'm just gonna quote the mother of Tyree Nichols. She said they beat his son like a piñata. For those who don't know what a piñata is, I mean, you know, just look how just Google what is a piñata. Just Google how Mexicans party sometimes.
Now, I understand how she feels, right? But that was a brother who lost her life. Now I can't tell the sister how to feel, right? But
right.
I just don't want to call the brother a piñata. That was a human body, a human life that took serious damage, right? At the hands of brothers who act like oppressors. Like, I understand how the sister feels with losing her son. No one could, like, I can't tell the sister I know how she feels, like, because I haven't lost a child, right? I've lost loved ones, but I haven't lost a child. So I get what she's saying, and she's saying that for dramatic effect. But listen, what they did to that brother was inhumane.
Right.
Right. And piñata doesn't have feelings. A piñata, you beat it, candy comes out. When you beat that brother, blood was coming out of him. Right. His spirit was being lost. So I understand how she feels, but I just can't say he was beaten like a piñata. Salakia. It's like, at the end of the day, we see brothers being murdered countless times, and it's traumatizing to our community, to our children who have to see that. So now you gotta think about it like this, right? For every black kid who's in a neighborhood, right, they would see white police or Caucasian police officers, Edomite police officers terrorizing their neighborhood. And sometimes they would see a brother and be like, maybe the brother's not as bad as the Edomites. Now those kids have no hope at all. They can't turn around and look at the brothers and say, you're not as bad, right? Because you're just as evil. You're doing the same things that the slave catchers or the Caucasians are doing. Salakia.
God, Salakia, that's powerful because, you know, just like you said, it's like maybe there's a little, you know, there's a little hope when seeing a black police officer thinking, well, maybe, you know, he's not going to be as bad as the Edomite or slave master's counterpart whatsoever. You understand? But now it's like there is absolutely no hope whenever we see a police. There's 1,000% of distrust, even though it's a man of color that has the uniform and the badge, because we just seen 5 men of color taking the life of another brother, right? For absolutely no reason. First of all, there's no reason for a police officer to just take a life like that, you understand, of an innocent man. But just like I said, he's an innocent man. He didn't commit no crime, no nothing. Then, right, further you would see that basically they were bragging about taking that brother's life. You understand?
And Salakia, even if the brother committed a crime, who cares? You arrest him, you take him to jail, and let him stand in front of the judge for bail. Who cares? Oppressors have committed crimes. These brothers have committed crimes, right? Now, because of the crime that these brothers have committed, do they get to get beaten like that? Like how he was, the brother ran from being tased or what? Listen, they're going to dig up every time he jaywalked as a child.
Right.
Just to make it seem like he committed a crime. Who cares? Right? America is how it is, based off crime. Right? Europeans came off them ships and they committed crimes against so-called people who were forced to speak Spanish. Right? So-called people who were forced to cut sugar cane and pick cotton and whatever they had us doing for slavery in Canada. Right? All these lands that we're in are based off crime. So who cares if he committed a crime? Right? He did not deserve to die like that. He did not deserve to be beaten like that. So like, listen, they beat that brother like how they did Saddam Hussein or Gaddafi. And that was horrible for the children of the Most High.
Damn, that's powerful, Adawan. Just like you said, they beat him like he was Gaddafi. All right, like I remember how they beat Gaddafi and they dragged him throughout the streets. That's literally how they beat him.
Right.
You understand? He feared for his life. So just like we brought up yesterday during our scripture breakdown class, the brother had two choices, fight or flight. He decided to flee. You understand? He was not even a violent brother according to the community. You understand? So he decided to flee. The police officers ended up tasing him, and then they proceeded to beat him to the point where his soul left his body.
Right.
You understand? And then they were bragging about it.
Right.
That's how horrible it is. I mean, once you join your oppressive, once you join your enemy, you're gonna think like your oppressor and like your enemy. And then just like what do you call it? Pale face officers are bragging about taking the life of our, brothers and sisters of color, right? They did the same thing. But
that's gang culture.
Salaki, what was that?
I was saying that's gang culture at its finest. Like you're not seeing a group of law enforcement. You're seeing a group of thugs, a group of gang.
Right. And it is widely known worldwide that the police officers are a police department is the biggest gang in the city, in any city.
Right.
You understand that is like common knowledge. In 2023, if you don't know that, well, you suffer from Stockholm syndrome, thinking, because just like Slaki, I'm just quote Lil Wayne, right? He said, he cannot distrust a police officer or a paleface because when he was young and he ended up, hurting himself with a firearm, the man who saved his life was a paleface police officer.
Yeah, drug addicts say a lot of things. Right? Like leave it to a drug addict. He's going to say whatever comes to his mind. He's not going to think about the people that have been hurt. Like he's from New Orleans, right? He's going to act like the police officers in New Orleans aren't out there harassing his brothers and sisters or aren't killing his brothers and sisters. He a coward. He's a comfortable man, right? The worst thing to be for black people is someone who's comfortable.
Damn right.
In the I.S.U.P.K, we like uncomfortability. Right, we go to camp and we stand up for hours. Listen, I remember my first 2 camps standing out there in some boots. I needed some insoles, and I had no insoles, and I had to hold post next to General Q. Right, I had to hold post, and it was uncomfortable. We like uncomfortability. Like we don't like to be comfortable. When you have men like Lil Wayne who are rich and don't have to worry about the plights of regular brothers, it's because they're comfortable. They're happy with their situation in life when the music that they're making is telling their brothers and sisters to use drugs, right? It's because he's comfortable.
Damn right. And Salakia, Trooper Swab is going to bring out one more article about this topic, and then we're gonna hop on the next topic, right? But I'm just going to say this: these 5 officers who actually are brothers, meaning people of color, right? They got a quick wake-up call. They thought they were, they were above the law. They thought they were the law. They thought they were immune. They thought nothing could happen. They were untouchable because they have a badge and a uniform.
Right.
right? They got a quick wake-up call. They're not pale-face. It don't matter how bad you're trying to join your oppressor, no matter how hard you work to join your oppressor, and said no matter how bad you hate your people to be able to join your oppressor and prove that you are worthy of the badge, you are worthy of the uniform, you are worthy of the American dream. You understand? You are still a N-word.
Right.
You understand? You're still a man of color. They don't give a damn about you.
Right.
Unlike their pale-faced counterparts, they got arrested with a quickness. They got a wake-up call the next day. You
Right.
were being charged. You understand? But yeah, Salakia. I'm gonna let I'm gonna let Trooper Sawab bring out the next article real quick, and then we're gonna hop on the next topic. Hey, Salakia.
Hey, we got General Q in the chat.
Right. We're gonna mention
Majim?
Rock. Yeah, Bashim.
Hey, Shalom, General. How's it going? The water for tuning in.
Salakia the one. Salakia Alawab. You could put in the chat if you want to hop in. We'll send you the link. All right.
All right. So what did we have next?
Real quick, Sawab got a little article to bring out.
Khan, and then after that, we could go into the article about the brother who died in jail in Montreal.
Right. Whenever you got it, Sawab.
Khan. This is from the New York Post, updated January 28th, 2023. The title is Tadarius Bean, former Memphis police officer involved in Tyree Nichols' killing, was president of scandal-scarred fraternity. One of the 5 former Memphis police officers charged with murder in the deadly beating of Tyree Nichols was the president of a fraternity with several recent scandals at its chapters. Tadarius Bean, 24, was the president of the Omega Psi Phi's Eta Zeta chapter at the University of Mississippi, according to his LinkedIn page. The fraternity was founded in 1911 at Howard University in Washington, D.C., a historically black college. It claims to be on the front line, leveraging its power, influence, and more than 100 years of commitment to the uplift of our people and our communities.
So, like, stop right there, Rock. You understand? It's just to show you that any brother joining a fraternity, you understand, you hate your own people, because fraternity, it all started in the Greek Empire. It's not even our culture, it's the culture of the oppressor. Not only that, but it said that the fraternity was founded, to uplift our people. But what upliftment? Like, what? So how are you uplifting our people by taking away the life of one of our people? You understand? How do you make that make sense now? You understand? Just to show you how much of a hypocrite you are if you want to join your oppressor. Talking about, we're joining our oppressor, we're falling after their culture. You understand? But we have our own agenda to uplift our people. You understand? So, like, as a matter of fact, we're gonna bring out the scripture, right? So, Wab, get Matthew chapter 6, verse 24, Baba Kusha.
Matthew chapter 6, you said?
Capítulo 6, versículo 24.
Khan.
Let me know when you got it.
Got it, sir.
All right, go ahead and read it.
Khan. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 24. No man can serve 2 masters.
It says, no man can serve 2 masters, meaning you can't be for one side and for the other at the same time. You understand? We're going to tell you why. Go ahead and keep reading.
For either he will hate the one and love the other,
read,
or else he will hold to the one and despise the other.
You cannot be for your own people and for the oppressor at the same time. You cannot want to join Pale Face America and stand for America of color. It don't work like that. It's not that they don't. It just can't work like that. You understand? Because you will have to make a choice at some point. You understand? Are you gonna be for the left or the right? You can't be in the middle. You understand? It's either gonna be for the red or the blue. You understand? You're gonna be either for the righteous or for the evil. You can't be for both. It's hot or cold. You can't be lukewarm. You understand? And just to show you, our people who are not in the ISUPK lack knowledge that, you understand, it's either you choose the good or the bad. You understand? And don't, and a lot of our brothers and sisters would choose the bad because it makes them feel comfortable. It gives them a
Right.
sense of euphoria. You understand? It gives them like, hey, it's like, you know, it's like when they take drugs, they have that little high. You understand? They have that little sense, you know, they're funny, they're happy, but you know, that high goes away quickly. Like that little high that he got for trying to join Pale Face America, he got a quick wake up call. You understand? That high just fade away as soon as he got arrested. And here he realized that, you know, he's actually one of us. It don't matter if you have a badge or a uniform. Once you commit a crime, you are one of us, no matter how bad you're trying to join the oppressor. Still like y'all.
Right now, what you're saying is heavy because every time we've tried to join, right? This what you're saying, right? Even the unaliving of this brother is the result of us trying to join someone or a group of people that ultimately hate us, that want to see us destroyed, that have placed drugs and guns and abortion in our community. Right, that's the results, right? This what we're waking up in every day is a wet dream or a nightmare from a man who was acting like he's a prophet of the Lord, right? And you can't like you'll never see the zebra and the tiger just walking and going to the water hole at the same time and acting like they are cool and friends, and one is going to eat the other. Right. And unfortunately, the children of Israel, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans or indigenous people, right? We've been tricked. We've been the prey, right? We've fallen prey to a beast.
Right.
Right.
All right, Brock.
Yes.
Let's kick it on to if y'all don't have anything.
I just wanted to add this, all right? For every so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, right? If you're in the police right now, you understand, you're in the police force right now, there's a good story in the Bible, you understand, about a man named Cornelius, right? An Israelite man. He was an Israelite, not a Roman. You understand? There's a good story in there. You could see exactly how Cornelius moved, and you understand, your job is to do exactly like that. All right. That was it, priest.
All right.
All right, Barack, we can go into that article coming out of your zone.
All right. All right. So Wab, if you can, Baba Kushad, get the article about the brother that got unalived in a Montreal correctional facility. Baba Kushad. Right. Let me know when you got it. So basically, just a quick breakdown for y'all who don't know, right? On Christmas Eve, another brother technically, was unalived, this time in a correctional facility on Christmas Eve of 2022, right? And we're going to get into the article to give you more details. You understand? All right. So whenever you got it, go ahead.
This is from the Global News. The title is Quebec to investigate death of inmate who was illegally detained. Updated December 30th, 2022. Quebec's Ministry of Public Security says it will launch an internal audit looking into the death of Nicolas DeAndre Spring at a Quebec jail Christmas Eve. Department spokeswoman Salakia.
Not good, right? You understand? And that brother, I mean, like I didn't personally know the brother, but he's from my area. You understand? I seen him from time to time. You understand? But yeah, keep reading the article, Lock.
Khan. Department spokeswoman Marie Josie Montminy says the 21-year-old was in illegal detention when he was injured December 24th inside the Montreal Detention Center, known as the Bordeaux Jail. Spring died in hospital.
Read.
Montminy explained that Spring should have been released December 23rd after he appeared virtually in court earlier that day. It is sad and it is horrifying, and I am afraid it won't be the last time, said Renee Betts, the former director at West Haven Elmhurst Community Recreation Association.
Right. So basically, what happened is that, you understand, the brother was incarcerated for whatever reason. You understand? Let's not speculate that he did a horrendous crime, right? Because it is known that black people, we go to jail for the smallest things. You understand? But for whatever reason, he was incarcerated. As he was about to be released, they actually kept him longer than they were supposed to. In that extra day, you understand? That extra day, right, was his last day for, understand? Let's say his last day on earth. I'm just put it like this. You understand? Because as he was supposed to be released, they ended up keeping him, and an incident occurred where he was in an altercation, right, with some COs or correctional officers, and one of these correctional officers ended up unaliving him. You understand? And just to put some, let me put it like this, right? This is a very young brother. He was 21 years old. In the United States, that's the state that's the age of, you know, when you become, where you're considered an adult, you know, of majority. You understand? 21 years old. I have one of my younger sisters is 21 years old. You understand? I cannot imagine what it was to lose a brother or a son at that age. You understand? Because there's always a saying in our people community, right? For many decades now, parents have been burying their children when they say that it's supposed to be the other way around.
Right.
You understand? And the I.S.U.P.K, we do not celebrate Christmas or any so-called pagan holidays. We teach our people not to celebrate these holidays because horrible thing happens to us, right? But the point I'm trying to make is that for a family, right, Christmas was not so merry that night.
Salaki, Barak.
Khan.
Does it say why he wasn't released?
Lot
or is it just saying there was something happened, he wasn't released? Like, what's the reason?
Basically, as I forgot to send the article, right? But it's pretty much saying the same thing. Besides that, they say that he probably was not released because he may have had some pending charges, or, you know, they may have to double check something in the system. They're just basically coming up with excuses to just say that, you know, just should have been released and it should have never happened. So they're trying to look for an excuse on why he wasn't released, basically.
All right. So this brother, so what you just described is like something that happens all the time, right? If you've ever been to jail and you get bail, before you're released, they just do like basically a CSIS search of your province or the whole country to find out if you have warrants, right? And usually what happens is if you have warrants out of province, they'll give the other province maybe 2 weeks, maybe 7 days to send some officers to that province or the jail where you are to come pick you up so they could transport you back. If the province doesn't want to pay for it, they just let them release you, right? And they'll try to pick you up when you get to that province if you get stopped again, right? So this brother was supposed to be released and he wasn't released. Somehow he gets into altercations with the guards and they end up physically assaulting him and he died, right? This is just a common thing that's happened to many brothers in jails in Canada. You could damn near survey 100 people in the jails in Canada, right? And 99 of them will say they were assaulted by guards, right? Because that's a job where it's like they treat those people in authority like they could do no evil, they could do no harm, like they're never wrong, right? And as a brother, like this is why, okay, look, brothers do get arrested for no reason half the time, right? Also, brothers are committing crimes, right? The Christian church has told our brothers and sisters that, listen, you could go and do whatever you want, the law's done away with. So they do all manners of sinning, right? And a lot of times they get caught up in a system that's out to destroy them.
Salaki Akim, I have something from an article that's saying how he might have died, or one of the reasons. You understand? This is in Montreal CTV News.ca, and when you drop down, they say Michael Arruda, a former Montreal police officer and specialist in crisis intervention, said he is very concerned that guards use a spit hood and pepper spray at the same time. A spit hood, Arruda said, is a restraint tool. Pepper spray, he added, is used to neutralize someone temporarily. The spray creates a burning feeling, but if it enters the mouth, it can create a choking sensation, he said.
Right.
So the brother was basically suffocated. Because those spit hoods are basically a mask, and then the pepper spray, you feel like you're coughing, like you're dying. That is a horrible way for Blacks, Hispanics to go, and Native Americans, right? And the point I was trying to get across earlier is, listen, we gotta give up on all crime. We're horrible criminals. We suck at it, and then we put our lives, right? So you commit a crime, you're basically saying, here, oppressor, take my life and do with it as you will. Right? Because you're putting your life in their hands. Now, if they don't feed you, they don't feed you. Listen, there's horror stories of brothers going into these jails and they're getting fed moldy sandwiches, like a moldy cheese sandwich. That's what you get, and you're in that jail for 12 hours. Right. So it's time for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, people of color, the Lord's chosen children, to stop committing crimes, because we're not set out here to be criminals. Right? We're a separate people. We're supposed to be different, right? We're not the average man, right? The blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we are fine gold of the earth. We're the seasoning, we're the salt, we're the ones that give the earth the flavor, right? But we don't have flavor when we follow the ways of a people who hate us,
right?
And you can clearly see, like, Adiyar, you're seeing, like, they pepper sprayed the brother and put a spit mask on him, or put a spit mask on him and pepper sprayed him. Either one, like that's a horrible way to go. So no brother should go out like that.
If I may, it's basically like they put a gas mask on the brother and pepper spraying inside the gas mask.
And damn, a no-frills bag, like a bag from the metro that you put the grapes in. Salakia.
Imagine all the burning in his eyes, in his nose, you understand? The air, you understand? The little air that he's breathing, you understand? All burning his throat and lungs. God damn. Understand? And what I want to say also is how you see, in contrast of the other story, you understand? Those black cops got arrested, you understand, right quick. Meanwhile, those guards, you understand, nobody heard about, you understand, any arrest. You understand what's going on with those guards.
Right.
You understand?
Well, that's like the precept. The scripture says, every beast loveth his like, right?
Right.
I mean, these oppressors aren't going to judge themselves. They're friends. Like, okay, I'll give you a story if I could, right? Sometimes it's good to give personal stories, right? Before I was priest and officer of 1000 Zabaja, I was some disgusting brother in the world, right? I was in and out of the courts. This is when I knew the whole court system is like, it's a club. It's a group of people who pray for people to go to jail, right? So I was fighting a charge, and my lawyer was taking a meeting with the DA. And then I asked my lawyer, like, how did you get the DA to agree to, or we call them crown attorneys, to agree to what you were asking. He basically said, I went to school with him. We went to the same law school. We're old friends and we know each other. So I had to take him out for something to eat. Right. Listen, you're finding out the judge, the prosecutor, and the crown, and the police, and the bailiffs, they're all good friends.
Right.
They're all hoping that you commit crime. They need you to commit crime so they can continue to get paid.
Damn right. That's how they get paid. The more criminals they are, the more the more work they got.
Right. They're friends. They're not going to judge each other.
So like a priest, if I may,
Come.
That means a black so-called black man or Latino man or Native Indian man's life depend on a meal. You understand? If that lawyer is gonna give him, you understand, bring him out to eat a meal and everything, so they could have a deal, make a deal on that brother's life. You understand? That mean our life basically, you understand, depends on that meal, not justice.
Basically.
God. Yeah.
Right. And yeah, so like so what we could keep reading the article. I'm just point out something.
Betts worked with Spring and describes him as gentle and sweet. Spring had appeared in court December 23rd on charges of assaulting a peace officer.
So like that's exactly where I'm getting at. You understand? We're gonna see how they portray the brother in the media now. You understand? Keep reading.
Kanarunkan, criminal harassment and possessing a weapon for a dangerous purpose. He was also facing 2 counts of failing to comply with a condition of release. He had pleaded not guilty to all the charges. He was also charged several times in 2021 with failing to comply with a condition of release.
Read those charges one more
time. He was also charged several times in 2021 with failing to comply with a condition of release.
So what? Read from the previous charges that you read before, right?
Karanukan. Spring had appeared in court December 23rd on charges of assaulting a peace officer, criminal harassment, and possessing a weapon for a dangerous purpose. He was also facing 2 counts of failing to comply with a condition of release. He had pleaded not guilty to all the charges. He was also charged several times in 2021 with failing to comply with a condition of release, as well as 1 count of assaulting a police officer. In 2020, he was charged with robbery, assault with a weapon, and assault causing bodily harm. The system is broken for young Black men. We know it is, Betts said. I would argue that if we look through his life, we will probably find instances of the system failing him along the way that had directly led him to being in the situation that he was in.
So like, stop right here, Ak, right? See how they portrayed the brother. Now, Pillface or any type of other oppressor would say, well, that's the reason why they kept him a day longer in jail, right? He clearly was a criminal. Look at his rap sheet. You understand? Not knowing the brother, or not knowing like what was just mentioned. You understand that we could look into this brother history and we could most likely see where the system failed him, where he ended up being in the situation that he's in right now. You understand? I'm not saying, I'm not if he did commit any crime, I'm not justifying it. You understand? But so-called Black Hispanics and Black Latinos and Native Indians, we're put in position where a lot of times we think we have no choice but to resort to crime, which we shouldn't have to resort to, because time after time we understand that we're not even, we're not good at being criminals. Even if we were good at being criminals, that's the point I'm trying to make, is that we're not supposed to be criminals. You understand? This is not a lifestyle we should partake in. You understand? Unfortunately, a lot of times situations like this happen where we end up being unalived, you understand, giving up the ghost because we get abused physically by our oppressors or by our own brothers trying to join our oppressors.
Salakia, if I may.
Okay, Karawakana.
Right. So in that article, there was a quote that the system failed this brother, right? The system didn't fail this brother. Christianity did.
Damn right.
That's what failed him, right? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, I know, I get it. I've been through it. You're tired of this system of in and out of jail, parole, not being able to get a job, not being able to change your life, not having the discipline to even listen to the rules that you're on. Because like I'm gonna keep it funky with you. A lot of brothers, y'all don't follow any rules at all, right? Y'all get in trouble. And Salaki, I know it sounds like, oh, you're talking about this brother after he was murdered or he was unalived, right? What I'm doing right now is I'm talking to my brothers who are still here with us, my sisters who are still here with us. It's time for a change, right? You're unhappy with the system that you have now. There's a whole other system, a whole other thing you could do, right? That's basically get with Officer Adiyar and Barakiala in Montreal, right? You're tired of going to jail and tired of some French-speaking oppressor to ask you for your ID in Montreal, right? You got to stop doing the things that you're doing and learn a new way of life. It's not hard, right? Every man that you're seeing on this screen before you has done the same thing I'm saying right now, where you changed your life, right? And that's what needs to happen, because this system is not going to change. You think it's going to change, it's not going to change. You have to change.
Right.
That's what needs to happen right now. Salakia.
No, damn right. That's what needs to happen, you understand? Thinking that we're going to be able to change the system if we have someone in politics, or if we become, if we join the police force, or we join, the military, whatsoever, the Congress, become mayors of our communities. We're not going to be able to change the system, because just like Officer Zabaja was saying, that system is basically just Christianity, which is pale-face supremacy. You understand? And the only body of people going against pale-face supremacy is the I.S.U.P.K, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA. You understand? Nowhere else will you be able to fight against that system, to fight against pale-face supremacy. You understand? Nowhere else will you be able to go against your oppressor. When I say go against your oppressor, we're not talking about go ahead and go fight in the streets or go physically harm them. That's not what we're saying. It's just spiritually separate from them. You understand? Because we're in their kingdom. We do have to work for them, for the jobs that they provide us. You understand? Most are in Christ if a brother has his own business. You understand? But most of us, or a lot of us, we don't have that choice or that luxury, right? So we do have to work in their society, but we don't have to conform to the spirit that they convey. You understand? We don't have to join in their spirit. You understand? Over here, we're not Christians. We're not celebrating New Year's, Christmas, Easter, Valentine's Day, whatever pagan holiday they have. You understand? We follow the laws and commandments of the Most High. We make sure that we teach brothers to never commit crime again. And those who are in a situation where they may have a record whatsoever, we help these brothers get a job. We help these brothers get that record expunged. You understand? We have the resource, all types of resources for all of brothers and sisters throughout wherever our people is, whether it's the Caribbean, Central, South America, North America, Europe. You understand? Just like that woman who was grieving on Christmas Day, we were grieving as well, because she lost a son, but we lost a brother.
Right.
You understand? And that's the spirit that we should have, because a lot of brothers, right, that we see in the community, they're gonna say justice for niggas whatsoever, You understand? But they're still gonna go against their ops, who is another brother. You understand? Now make that make sense. You want justice for your brother, but you still willing to go against another brother? Now how does that make sense? You're still following after the ways of your oppressor.
Right.
You understand? If you want justice for Nickas, you understand? You want justice for Villanueva as well. You want justice for Tyree Nichols. You understand? You want justice for all brothers or sisters being physically or mentally abused. You understand? In our community, throughout North, Central, South America, throughout Europe, the UK, France. You understand? The islands. You understand? Justice for Nickas is justice for us all. It's justice for Emmett Till. You understand? Salak, the other one.
Nah, no sweat. Adia, you got anything you want to add?
Present to on this.
I think we might be too wab on this one. We could move on to the next story that we got. We are coming up on that time where we're gonna call an end to the show sooner or later. Again, this is the Rise 1969. We're streaming on TikTok. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. We're streaming on YouTube as well, right? And Facebook. Share, share this on all social media. Tap the screen, thumb up the video, do all the good things to make the algorithm see these tapes, because this needs to be seen all throughout Canada. All right, so Wap, you could read the last story that we have.
Khan. This is from CTV News Toronto. The title is New Video Appears to Show TTC Employee Shoving Teen Prior to Swarming Attack. This was published January 26, 2023. New video footage obtained by CP24 appears to show the events leading up to what the TTC has described as a despicable swarming attack on two of its employees in Scarborough.
All right, so the TTC, for those who might not know, right, the TTC is basically the Toronto Transit Commission. It's just an acronym for the bus, right, or the metro. I don't know what they call it in New York State or New York City, Albany, Buffalo, or wherever city that you're from, right? In Montreal, I think they call it the metro, and here we just call it the TTC, right? So what happened is there's a video. I'm going to look for it in a second to see if I can get it so YouTube can see what I'm talking about. But there's a video of a group of teens. They're outside of a bus. You see a bus driver. Now, I can't say if this person is a driver or just an employee, right? But you see an employee of the TTC jump off the back of the bus, walk towards the teen. He pushes the teen, right? And just like any group of teens will, they will swarm on any adult touching them, right? That's exactly what happened. I'm going to look for the video while Sawap goes more into the story so we can have it. Sawap, you can continue reading.
Khan. The incident began on a stopped bus near Kennedy and Marion Roads on Monday at around 3:35 p.m. 4 13-year-old boys have since been charged in connection with the incident. This still image taken from video footage appears to show the moments leading up to the alleged assault of a TTC employee in Scarborough on Monday. Two of them are facing 1 count of assault, while the other 2 are facing 2 counts of assault. So far, few details have been released about exactly what transpired, though police have said that there was an altercation between a group of boys on board and that 2 TTC employees were subsequently assaulted. The footage obtained by CP24 shows the same Marion Road bus shelter where the incident took place. It appears to show a uniformed TTC employee stepping off the bus and onto a sidewalk before exchanging words with a teen. The employee then appears to shove the teen, at which point the teen begins throwing punches in return. At least 2 other teens are also seen pushing and shoving.
Salakia, 1 second. Hey, Salakia is a budget. Basically, they're saying that It was not an unprovoked attack.
Basically, that's what they're saying. But why I brought this out, right? Because this is something that always happens, right? Especially in the city of Toronto when it comes to the TTC, it doesn't always make the news, right? TTC employees, now listen, children, especially teens, they get on these buses, they're loud, they're obnoxious, but they're teens. Like, you just got to deal with it. You just got to understand that these are kids, like, right? There's a way you can speak to them. A lot of times, adults just are very disrespectful at these teens. Like, they got a lot of energy. You got to understand that, right? We have to be understanding people. But at the same time, they'll say stuff to these teens, things will get out of hand, and the teenagers will get charged whenever the adults attack them first. When I'm going to find this video, right? I found a short of the video, but it's not exactly what I'm looking for. But when you watch what happens, one second. When you watch what happens, you see a grown man push a teen. The teens swarm him, right? I'm not going to say whether they should have or whether they shouldn't have. I just know, like, if you were around my brothers or my friends when we were younger and you tried to attack us, we were swarming you, right? It's I think that's the natural reaction of any teenage male. So, okay, what was that? Oh, so okay. So the question is, why wasn't the TTC employee charged if he pushed the child first? Right.
Pinche diablo que habla la Biblia.
So, like, Barack, you could take over for a second. I'm just looking for this clip.
Karma Khan. You understand? So basically, the teens were charged for basically defending themselves. But just like Officer Sabaja was saying, why wasn't the TTC employee charged for assault in the first place if he puts his hand on a teen first? You understand? Because the teen were not the instigators in that case. Instead, they were just defending themselves, right? According to what the article says. Instead, they did not put their hands on anyone first. You understand? Keep reading the article, Mokashasawap.
Khan. At least 2 other teens are also seen pushing and shoving. The footage later shows a second TTC employee running into the shot and towards the melee. They appear to be attempting to break up the fight when the video cuts out. The TTC has previously said that the 2 employees were on duty and on their way to a relief point to pick up their vehicle and go about their shift when the attack happened. They did not require hospitalization, but TTC spokesperson Stuart Green has said that they were shaken up after the incident. He has also said that the driver of the bus was emotionally impacted. At this point, we are working with 2 police to pull video and get them any evidence we can as they investigate this despicable act. It is absolutely inexcusable, Green said earlier this week. It is important to note that the 11-second video does not show what may or may not have transpired on board the bus prior to the attack.
Salakiak. But just the way to describe it, to say this despicable act, you understand? It doesn't sound like these teens were pale-faced at all. You get my point? You understand?
Right. Now that's a heavy point that you're saying, right? Because when you watch the video, the teens are blurred out, right? But a regular trend that usually happens, is Thawada. Whenever Caucasian teens do something, Edomite teens do something, it's always there was a reason behind it, their family story or something. Like, they'll make up any excuse for why this teenager did what they did, right? Whenever it happens to be a Black, Hispanic, or Native American, these are thugs, these are drug dealers, these are gang members. They're the worst people in Earth.
God. You see, every time they portray something, just like Officer Zabaja was saying, you understand? It's always an excuse, or we always have to pity the pale face. Whenever it comes to people of color, you understand, we're despicable. We're monsters. You understand? We're natural born monsters. Yes, and we have no discipline, no order. It is unnatural for us to know how to behave. You understand? And the thing is that the article clearly says that teens were assaulted first, but they're saying that in the video they don't know what happened. They don't know what led to the teens assaulting the employees. When clearly the article says that the teens were assaulted first. You understand?
Right. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this story, because it goes to show you that what happens for us is not the same thing that happens for everybody else. Right? Even with the brother that was the brother that we were just speaking about earlier, Tyree, right? They're gonna turn around and make it seem like this brother was just like a horrible person, right? They'll go and dig up a jaywalking charge from when he was in grade 3. Right. From when he was in middle school, they'll go and look for something. They'll talk about his suspension from then, rather than ask a question that should be asked, like, why wasn't the TTC employee charged? Like, this is supposed to be a person that were holier than thou, right? Like one was just breaking up the fight, the other was just a innocent employee on his job, and these teens viciously attacked him in Scarborough for no reason, right? The other thing about Scarborough is Scarborough has a large a large people of color population, right? 1 second. I think I found the video. I'm going to be able to get it for you.
Salakia. I think so. I put it in the StreamYard chat.
Thuwada, yeah, I got it. Thuwada for that. I'm just I'm basically sharing it right now. The ad to play.
No sweat. For people on TikTok, just like we said, we're streaming on YouTube as well. So if you want to see what video we're talking about, right, you could go on our YouTube page, I.S.U.P.K Canada, I.S.U.P.K Quebec, or go on our Facebook page. We're streaming from I.S.U.P.K Canada to see the video that we're talking about, all right? And people on TikTok, stop being waste man and waste y'all. Tap the link, understand? Like the stream, understand? Like the live, share it everywhere, you understand? Stop being waste y'all and waste mans. It's like it. YouTube as well, you know? Like and share the video on YouTube and Facebook. Stop being waste mans.
So before I play this video, if anybody wants to add their input, you can, or we can wait until the video plays so you can see exactly what's happening.
I'm Tawab Adawan.
Yeah, I'm Tawab.
All right, no sweat. All right, so this is the video right here. Okay, so what you just seen, right? I'm going to break this down slowly for you. Okay, hold up. You're going to see the last person that comes off the back of the bus. The person with the red hat that you just watched, that is a TTC employee. That is a grown-ass man, Salakia. So there you just seen it, right? And it's like they had that noise in for dramatic effect, but it definitely worked, right? You see him walk up to these group of teens, right? All of them look like they weigh maybe 110 pounds, right? You see this grown man, he looks like he weighs almost 220. Walk up to these group of teenagers and push them. And now in my mind, this is supposed to be an adult, right? This is supposed to be someone who works for the city, right? In his mind, he thought he was going to push these teens and nothing was going to happen. He thought he was going to intimidate and bully them, and nothing was going to happen, even if they were loud on the bus. Right? That's no reason for you to push a team. And then you have to think about this employer. He doesn't give a damn about any of the other customers on the bus, the people who are going to work or coming from work, right? He decided to jump off this bus, escalate an altercation that makes the bus go out of service. Now the police have to come. Now the TTC supervisors have to come. Everyone has to get off this bus. It's the wintertime. It's cold. Right? This employee should be fired and charged as well. Right. As I play it again, you're seeing that he had that means the team was no threat to the weapon. Right. Slovakia.
If I may, right, just to show how much of a evil devil, of an evil bastard our oppressor is, right? He had to walk up to the teen and, you know, basically push him. You understand? But like you say, he's a grown man. So what would make a grown man walk up to a 13-year-old to just push him because he's making too much noise? Like, how does that even make sense? You understand?
Right. It's to let you know that whoever this person is, they are high. Like, is this the precedent that is being set? Like the TTC really, or they're loud, right? And then they get charged and nothing happens to the employees.
Right.
Right. And here's the other part, right? This is the next part. Throughout the TTC, there's been a series of stabbings. Right. Of just violent acts that are happening. So now the question is, what is the TTC's plan to keep the customers safe from attackers who are employees as well as customers?
So like, yeah, they should do well. As for the employee part, it seems like they should do just like, you know, with police officers, mental screening. Are they comfortable working in a crowd? You understand? Are they comfortable working with different type of people? You understand? Are they sensitive to having like children in their presence, teenagers? You understand? Are they easily triggered whatsoever? Because all types of people from all walks of life go into TTC or in the public transport. You understand? You cannot control how people are going to act. You understand? You have to adapt to people. You understand? It's not like, you know, because you're easily triggered. Let's say someone is right next to you. Right, the bus is packed. The last person next to you is someone listening to music. The music is loud through the headphones, and you can hear it. It bothers you. Well, you're gonna assault them because the music bothers you now.
Right.
You understand? Plus, it's like if this group of kids were, you know, grown young men, right? I doubt that this TTC employee would have just walk up to them and shoved them. He felt like, you know, not only because they were, you know, little young brothers of color, that he was superior than them, right? But also because they were still kids. So he felt some type of superiority, right? They're young black kids, right? So if he has to act in a way where, you know, they should obey or, you know, submit to him because they're bothering or disturbing his peace, right? According to him, well, they should comply. Understand? Because not only is he a grown man, but you know, he is their oppressor. He's the master. So they should comply according to him. You understand? And that's the issue. Up until 2023, we think that, you know, we're all equal, this and that, but he would have never done this to pale-faced young kids. You understand?
Right, and that's also a heavy point, right? That goes to dispel all thoughts and imagination that of just
Right. In Salaki, if I'm not mistaken, because I know me and Officer Adia, we're in Quebec, right? In the province of Quebec, we are in the most racist province of Canada. If I'm not mistaken, Toronto is not too far behind. I mean, Ontario is not too far behind us.
in light of racism. Listen, I don't even say one province is more racist than the other because Gadites live on reservations all throughout Canada.
I'm not basing it on a personal view. I'm just basing this on statistic.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying Gadites live in reservations all throughout Canada. It's like, what are we doing? Like, you can't. It's basically comparing lions to tigers and snakes to cobras. Like it's all the same to me.
Right. At the end of the day, you're right, Adawan. But just to show you that no matter where we are, right, because we live in an empire that, where we actually never been freed, never been even considered actual humans, you understand? We cannot expect any type of compassion or justice, you understand, or equality. No, regardless of the field that we're looking at, whether it's on the job, whether it's in the institution, and like school whatsoever, whether if we're trying to get a loan from the bank, and then even as criminals, right, being incarcerated, there is still pale-face privilege, you understand, in the correctional institutions. You understand? They don't get assaulted like we do. You understand? They don't get mistreated like we do. You understand? Regardless what field you're looking at, what institution you're looking at, we're always at the bottom of the barrel.
Right. That's definitely something that's true. It's going to hold true for now. Sooner or later, this kingdom is going to fall. And there's going to be a power that comes through the sky, that cracks the sky, right? And sets so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans into their rightful place of rulership in this earth.
Damn right.
Salakia, was there anything else in this article?
Khan, there's about 6 or 7 paragraphs.
You could read the next paragraph. We'll probably clip this article after.
Khan. It also cuts off just a few seconds after the first punches are thrown. CTV News Toronto did previously obtain surveillance footage from a nearby business, which appeared to show an altercation continuing on the road in front of the bus. That footage shows at least a dozen people pushing and shoving in front of the stopped bus and features a number of similarities with the video obtained by CP24. The swarming incident is just one of several recent instances of violence against TTC employees. A 24-year-old TTC operator in Scarborough was shot with a BB gun over the weekend and later told CTV News Toronto that she feels as though she was shot for being a TTC employee.
Right, Salakia. Right, listen, I'm trying not to laugh at that situation, but I'm going to just put it like this, right? Some of the experiences that customers feel or customers experience riding the TTC will make you go crazy. Like, I could fully see someone being upset with the TTC that they fully walked on there with a BB gun and said, listen, I'm not going to kill you, but I'm going to scare you. Right? It's crazy. Like, good, I'm telling you, good night. Listen, I had a slave, right? A slavery. I was working in downtown court. Barack, you've been there, right? I got to go all the way down to that big station. You know, the station y'all get dropped off at when we're going to camp, right? So at the top of that line, right? That's basically the bottom of the line. At the top of the line, you're up there. The train is supposed to leave for 5:30 in the morning. You'll be in the tunnel waiting for like 10, 15 minutes sometimes while it just sits in the tunnel. And now you're late for work. right? There's countless delays. Now, that's no excuse for assaulting someone, right? There's never an excuse for assaulting someone unless you're defending yourself, right? But the TTC does need an overhaul. Like there needs to be some type of ethics committee, some type of overwatch board that's gonna manage um, the service of the TTC. And you can all but guarantee that once these services are addressed, once these issues are addressed, you'll probably won't see as much attacks. Like there's always going to be an attack because Canada has a very horrible mental health issue, right? They have billions of dollars to give to Ukraine, but mental health is damn near at the bottom. Like they built a very big facility. Bro, you remember that facility we walked by when we got that the poutine after that studio night, right? Yeah. So that's facilities where people go for mental health, but a lot of people get pushed out, right? There's not enough beds. There's not enough services. There's no one checking up on these people. And if they don't get the services and the medicine and the beds and the facilities that they need, they're basically riding the TTC for free, assaulting people, right? So there's always going to be that element. Then there's going to be the element of people who are just frustrated with the services of the TTC, so assaults happen. You'll have drivers who will see you and drive off instead of waiting 2 seconds. You'll have drivers who speak to you rudely. It's just a bunch of things that are happening. So this is going to be an ongoing problem until the Transit Commission can deal with all the faults in their service.
So basically TTC fix up, fam.
Right. Just like my bro said, you have to fix up. All right, I don't know if there's anything else I wanted to go into. We are almost at that 2-hour mark. Again, it's Sunday. We stream 4 p.m. every Sunday. I.S.U.P.K Canada on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. We're going to be trying, right? We're going to be seeing how this works out. We're going to be trying to go back to streaming on Clubhouse as well as Instagram. So we'll be on damn near every social media platform.
Right.
Right. So if there's anything else y'all want to talk about or anything else y'all want to bring up regarding this subject, let us know.
Real quick. Yes, I'm just gonna paraphrase, right? In Revelation, right? Give me 1 second. As a matter of fact, could you grab it? So up, give me Revelation chapter 18, verse 4, right? Separate from our presence. We need to separate from this empire. You understand? It's not separating physically, you understand, going from one hell to another, you understand, from one war zone to another, you understand, but spiritually separate, right? Read it when you got it, Akosha.
The book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues.
You understand? That is why we need to separate. You understand? We need to separate so there's no more issues like Emmett Till, like Tyree Nichols, like Nickus DeAndre Springs. You understand? This is why we need to separate from our oppressor. You understand? So we do not partake in their sinful ways, nor are we affected by the plagues that the Most High is going to give them. You understand? Because our people are dying because we decide to join our oppressor. You understand? Our people are living in the hell because we decide, to try and join our oppressor the best we can. So one day we could be accepted. One day we could get a piece of the pie of the so-called American dream. You understand? Which is never gonna happen. I mean, some brothers and sisters are successful in their life, right? They have a house, they understand, they have property, they have a business whatsoever, right? But they are still the same as us. You understand? They are still N-words when it comes down to it. There will be an instance in life where they're gonna get a wake-up call. Understand? To let them know that they have to separate from the oppressor and join the I.S.U.P.K under Commanding General YAHANNA.
Right. Damn right. All right. Well, with that said, well, Barack, since y'all open, you got to open up the show, Barack. I'm gonna leave it at you. You get to close it out, Salakia.
Hey, with that said, you understand, that was another episode of The Rise 1969 with I.S.P.K Canada. Tonight we had Officer 1000 IDR, you understand, the Levi warrior, you understand, just to call my Levi brothers, you understand, when it comes to the oppressor, you understand, Kuputet Bulikai, Uja Konet, you understand, we got Officer 1000 Zabadia, the Wolf of the North, you understand. I mean, y'all can run, but y'all can hide from a wolf. You understand? So run, right? So keep running. You understand? Go to the gym, keep running, get on that treadmill, but you can't hide. You understand? Me, myself, and I, Officer 500 Barack, y'all are the hosts doing the most. Y también mi hermano, el soldado SWAP, you understand? From Albany, New York, right? With that said, tune in next week, around the same time, you understand, for another episode of The Rise 1969. Israel, Shalom, Yahweh Shem, to all the brothers, Yahweh Shem, to all the sisters. We out.